Revolution.
Re-evolution, that's what it is. We're just working out how to make it better. Nobody sitting on these streets here today is going to tell you that we've got the answer to the problem. But what we're all going to tell you is that we are looking for the solutions. We're not waiting for somebody else. No politician's going to come and make this better. No banker. This has to be something that the people do together.
People don't get it.
And that's the reality that we're sitting with right now. I'm sitting on the streets of London because I'm in an open dialogue with intelligent people, and we are genuinely trying to work out what to do about the banking crisis and the inherently corrupt way that this country has allowed its bankers to manage the banks. I just learned yesterday that the way bankers' bonuses are calculated is upon trading. It's not upon how successful their trading is, it's upon how much they trade. So they can take an invisible product and sell it into the market and then buy it back themselves. That's 2 trades, so 2 bits of bonus. And then they can sell it back to the market at a lesser price, so that's 3 trades, that's 3 bits of bonus. Then they can buy it back, that's 4 trades, that's 4 bits of bonus. And this is what they keep doing, they keep selling products until they're worth nothing, just selling them backwards and forwards, because that's how their bonuses are calculated. Their bonuses are not calculated upon profit, their bonuses are calculated upon sheer amount of trading. And anybody in their right mind can see that that's going to encourage people to be corrupt. It's going to encourage them to trade as much as they can and not to give a monkey's foo-far about what's happening to the people on the streets, as long as they keep trading. You know, we go and bail the banks out with many millions of pounds, trillions and billions, and at the end of the day, the taxpayers paying for it. But worse, it's now our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren that are paying for it. And this needs stopping. It's the one thing that I think most people agree on, whether they're a banker or whether they're a person on the street or a protester in a camp. What we agree on is the system is inherently corrupt and it needs changing. And that's why we're out on the streets of London, sleeping in tents. Most of us have got homes to go to. I don't need to be here. I'm a disabled person. I have my own income. I have a carer and I have a nice warm bed. But I choose to be here because it's about time that people started listening to what's going on. If we don't stand up and demand change now, there won't be an opportunity to do that. Every time they change the laws, when you're not looking, there's sessions going on in Parliament that are eroding your civil liberties. You're going to wake up one morning and find that you have no right to complain, that you are tied into a system that is going to rob your children of their future. It's the most obvious form of slavery that's ever happened. No longer are the shackles round our ankles, the shackles around our bank accounts and around our credits and around our ability to pay. No longer do we have a family supported by one male working in the family. Both parents have to work, which means that the children are being brought up by, I'm not being funny, 16-year-old numpties in nursery who've had no experience and no care and attention to the welfare of those children. And they have to do this because the government's quite happy to give a grant to people to go and get their children into nursery school, but it's not prepared to authorise a living wage and a mortgage capping system where you can afford in your own lifetime to buy your own house. Most of us are caught in these traps and it's time to wake up. It's not getting better. By sitting here and saying nothing, nothing's going to change. We have to get out, speak to MPs, speak to people who are in places of power, speak to your county councillors, stop the injustices of the banking system, stop the injustices of how much it costs to buy a house now, and reclaim our lives. We have less leisure time in the 21st century than our ancestors had in the medieval times. We now work more days, more hours, both parents, to maintain a worse standard of living than we've ever done. Most of us can only afford to eat value food from Tesco's or similar. I want to have a proper life. I want to have access to services that my taxes have paid for when I was able to work, and that my children's taxes, who are able to work, they will pay for it. If we get left out on the streets, then that's what will happen. So rather than be left out on the streets, I'm going to actually camp on the streets and demand change. And I hope that everybody that's listening to this is going to think a little bit about what I've said, because this is not just the great unwashed oh, and they're all just protesters. These are ordinary people with daily jobs and daily lives who feel compelled to push for change. And that's why we're sitting here now. We're opening a dialogue. Why aren't the politicians here asking what our opinions are? Why are the bankers not having emergency committee meetings to work out solutions to the banking crisis? If you look at the news today, the Eurozone's in crisis. Oh, la-di-da, again. What's in crisis is people's hearts and minds. The corruption that's inherent in our system has eaten away at the hearts and minds of the British people. And I'm proud to be British, and I stand up for my ability to be sitting on the streets right now. And I pray and hope that my children will have the same rights to complain about oppression and injustice. Because if we don't claim those rights, then they won't be there. Wake up, British people. Please take note of what's happening in Parliament. Speak to your MPs. Every minute you're not looking at what they're doing, more civil liberties are being eroded, until eventually they'll be pushing us off the streets and, I don't know, into what? Mental institutions, prisons, all the people that can't work. What will we do with them? Where's the manufacturing industry gone in this country? Where is jobs? All the jobs are service industry jobs. We want real jobs. We want creative jobs and working hours that give people a quality of life with their families. You know, all of these are reasons why we're on the streets now, but they're not the only reasons. For every single person you talk to on this protest, you will find a different reason for being out here on the streets right now. Don't just discount us as the great unwashed, and don't think that just because the City of London might remove the tents off here, that this movement and this voice is going to go away, because it's not. Because this is like an idea whose time has come. We've woken up. Things are not getting better for saying nothing. We have to speak out. And anyone, anywhere, has the right to do that at this moment in history. Use that right. Stand up to you. Go and see your MP. Speak to your county councillor. Let change happen in your street. Be nice to people. Explain to people we're all a community, one human community living on a very small island in Britain. If we don't actually start looking after each other and making the systems that we've got in place looking after each other as well, we're screwed. Most people don't choose to be unemployed now. They just literally are no jobs, because we've allowed our manufacturing industries to migrate to third world countries where we pay slave wages to children to make our products, thus keeping them tied into a system where children can't even go to school, thus no education, thus no ability to speak out against this injustice. And you've got people in Britain, they've got no jobs. Something has to change, and it has to change in the hearts and the minds of the people, and that starts to happen by people talking. And that's what Occupy London is, and all the other Occupy movements all over the world. It's people opening a dialogue with each other and saying, we're not happy with the status quo, we do want change, we're not sure where it is, and now is the time. And I tell you now, I've already made preparations. If they take my tent away from me, I bought myself a Gore-Tex ex-army sleeping bag cover. If they take my tent away, I'll just embarrass them further and sleep on the streets with no tent. Until we actually start to be listened to by the politicians and the powers that be, I feel compelled to stay. And that's where it's at. And I ask for the support of the people of London, because you are here right now. And thanks to the donations that people have made of sleeping bags, tents and other such things, that we're able to be here. So I'm going to ask you people, if they move our tents, if you see that we've been evicted with our tents, please come down with another tent, because we're not going away. We'll just move somewhere else. Until we actually start to be listened to about our points of injustice, we're not going away. When the City of London said, what would you do to agree to leave? If you look on the papers this morning, they'll say that the talks went nowhere. That's not true. We told the City of London that if they wanted to be, if they wanted us to leave, that we wanted them to be fully accountable. We wanted them to print their accounts of how much money passes through this place against, and nobody knows how much money is passing through the City of London. They make absolutely trillions and billions of pounds from what's going on here, and they don't pay tax on a penny of it. This is a completely independent state. It's not bound by the laws of the British people. The Corporation of London is a sovereign state within our very heart of our country, and it's a tax haven, and it's just a way of the rich robbing more from the poor. At the end of the day, there's enough food to feed this world, there's just no will to share it and no money to pay for it, and unless you've got money you won't get it. I know that the problems on this planet can be resolved by equitable systems where people actually share out what the resources that are available. There is enough resources to deal with every human need on this planet, but there's no political will to do it and no finances in place to pay for other people's food needs, or a fishing rod, or to help a man fish. At the end of the day, the system has to change, and until it does, we have to stay, because it's the first time this debate's been actually happening. So that's where we're at. Keep debating, keep dialoguing. We will find solutions, and we'll find solutions by not actually listening to the politicians and listening to the people on the streets. I've learnt more about the political and banking system of this country on the living in a tent at St. Paul's Cathedral than I've known the whole rest of my life, and I am shocked and horrified by the things that are allowed to happen. I did not know that the Corporation of London was hosting a tax haven for multinational criminals. I am shocked to discover that this is the heart of the beast. With the money that goes through this place, we could right most of the problems in the world. So it's time for the City of London to become accountable. Come on. We want transparency. How much money does go through here? How much taxes are paid? Or are you just a one big offshore holding company right in the heart of our city?
Oh, yes.
Many nights we've prayed with no proof anyone could hear. In our hearts a hopeful song we barely understood. Now we are not afraid, although we know there's much to fear. We were moving mountains alone before we knew we could. There can be miracles when you believe. Though hope is frail, it's hard to keep. Who knows what miracles you can achieve when you believe. Somehow you will when you believe. In this time of fear, when progress so often prove in vain, hope seems like the somber buzz too swiftly flown away.